Hey, what's going on everyone? This is YoeYoursTruly back with another video, and today we're gonna be doing the tier list for version 0.19. And oh boy, we got a ton to talk about because in these kind of recent patches, a lot of people, including YoeYoursTruly, is not really like super happy with the meta. And for those who are sort of out of the loop, the kind of meta that is still taking place in 0.19 is this very short time to kill meta. On the previous patch, it was really bad, right? But on this version 0.19, it's a little bit better, but it's still very much a short time to kill meta. You just want to pick heroes that's all about killing your targets as quick as you can rather than playing the tanks or like the sustained heroes like Narbadge, right? So that's going to have a huge impact on the kind of like tier list and how the meta is shaping up to be for Wing, because this is again going to be a tier list that's going to be more geared towards the Wing side. So I'm going to be talking a lot about like what are the must picks and bans and what pick you may have to slowly get away from and pick some of the more meta picks. But to kind of quickly go over what each of the tier bracket means, S is a must pick or ban. Some picks in this S tier pick, no, you don't have to necessarily ban every game, but you almost have to just pick them because they're just too good to pick up. A is just for always strong. You can never go wrong with these picks, but they're not necessarily the kind of picks you will ban out necessarily. B is great picks, a little bit overshadowed by the A picks, but they still have their own like niche cases where they can be pretty dang strong. C is for average performance. These are the kind of heroes that are kind of like barely just doing fine in the meta. You kind of want to look at A and B a little bit more, but if you're like very good for C picks, then there's nothing wrong with going with that. D picks is for like the situational picks, where they can either be pretty dang good in the right scenarios, but most of the time they're like very niche. You don't always want to pick them because it's very hard to slot them into your team comps. A to D is only for the one trick, so essentially these are the picks that you can only like see a lot of good value on if you play this hero a ton. If you're just an average Joe trying to play these picks are gonna feel pretty dang bad in your hands. And then the F tier is for the rest in peace, the ones that like you just have no business picking these heroes. The last patch, for example, Revenant was really bad in the last patch, so he got his own tier, rest in peace, because he was just really bad, but he's doing a lot better, and we're gonna update that tier bracket for him. And again, one last thing is this is just my opinion at the end of the day, so don't like take this tier list super seriously. Although I have talked to a lot of content creators, I have talked to other people that play this game a whole ton. I got some feedback on like kind of my tier list, so I'm feeling pretty dang good on giving you guys this really accurate, up to date kind of tier list in this current meta for version 0.19. But without further ado, let's kind of jump straight into it, and we're gonna, of course, first talk about Terra, that's bringing a ton of Terra into this meta, and we're gonna just slot her immediately to the S pick right here. It's kind of funny, like the first day that she was released, there were a lot of people that were saying that she was very meh, but then when I go into the Meta's history, I saw the items and builds are building on her. Yeah, if you're building this character with Assassin's Crest and building Dread on her, and you say she's feeling very meh, I think that's more on your fault for being wrong. Like, there was a lot of people that weren't just building her right was the big issue on her first initial release, but already we now got very like solid builds, very clear items you have to go on her, and people are building on her, and now they see how big of a nuisance and how big of a problem she can be. Because she's supposed to be kind of like tankier person, right? But the big issue that Terra is bringing right now is that her numbers are way overturned. Like, she's supposed to be durable, she's supposed to be like a little bit slower character that can dish out damage, right? Like, I guess the best comparison I can have for you guys is when we talk about like Crunch right here. Terra and Crunch are very similar. They both have empower abilities. They're both like great in the offlane and jungle. The big difference that's supposed to be between these two picks is that for Crunch, he's supposed to be the more aggressive, the more mobile character. It's all about like getting his combos out faster, getting his lockdown faster, doing more damage faster, right? And then for Terra, she's supposed to be the hero that's like, okay, my combos is a little bit slower, my damage is not as bursty, but hey, I press one button and I'm a CC immune, I'm very durable, I'm very hard to kill, unlike the Crunch that hates to get CC, right? So they're kind of like two sides of the same coin, except for Terra's side of the coin, she is way overtuned, because she just out damages Crunch by a large margin. Like, this is just not okay. When I'm looking at these two characters side by side, I'm like, okay, this character is supposed to be doing X, it's supposed to do Y, but this character Terra is literally doing everything that Crunch provides. She's very mobile. She has a 6-second dash ability at 3 items, which is pretty dang insane, because that's shorter than Crunch's R&B cooldown first off. And then second off, her damage is just way more bursty. And at the same time, she's also more durable than Crunch, because the whole point of like Terra being like a bruiser is that her ultimate gives her like armor for both physical and magical, and it doubles when you use it. So she's a character that's actually pretty tanky with her kit, and so she wants to actually encourage to build more damage items on her to make sure she can actually do damage. Except when you go full damage on her, she's doing way too much damage. It's a big issue. Like, I swear she's doing more damage than Crunch and his combos, and I can say that after playing these two heroes for a long time, right? And so there's a lot of different other reasons I can just go about too, and the one big reason why she's gonna be a must pick or ban is the fact that she literally hard counters people in this meta, because this meta is all about short time to kill, and the best way to enable that short time to kill is to like CC people, lock them down, throw all your abilities at them, they die within seconds, right? But for Terra, she pressed the fun button, she gets CC immune, she can't get busted down as easy, she can't get locked down because she's immune to all the CC you thrown at her. So she just kind of like goes against the meta, except she's also part of the meta because she's also have a lot of damage, so she's still killing her targets really fast. And usually the way to stop people from killing your targets really fast is to CC them, but Terra can just like literally bring Terra in team fights and be CC immune for like 8 seconds, which that's insane. 6 seconds, 7, 8 seconds, 8 seconds CC immunity at max ult. That is pretty dang nutty on that. Like, let me just highlight just some examples of why she can just completely hard counter people. Like, I can just look at a lot of mid lanes. Bellica, Howitzer, Iggy, August. They have these abilities where, like, they're very good at self-peeling for some usually. Except their peeling abilities rely on CC. So like Bellica can escape a lot of ganks by just knocking up the jungler walking away. Terra just presses the fun button and walk at Bellica. Bellica doesn't knock up, does nothing, and she just gets run down by Terra and there's nothing she can do, right? Like, this is like one of the first heroes I think in this entire game where we actually have a hero that completely shuts down certain heroes, right? Like, think of Faye. Like, the best way to counter Faye is just to build like cleanse items, but you have to like give up certain quest options to actually counter certain hero. But Terra, literally, her entire existence counts Faye. Faye, like, you won that Faye. Faye should press alt. Terra's press alt does nothing to Terra, so she just won down Faye, right? So I really think that I can just keep going on and on and on. I haven't even talked about how nutty her wave killer is, how she can literally clear the entire like jungle with 1.5 items as an offlaner. There's so many things wrong with her, right? But like, I think I'm just rambling enough to kind of get my point across that this hero is just seriously not okay. Like, usually when there's new heroes coming into like Predecessor, the balance team usually does a good job at being like, okay, this hero's going to be slightly overtuned, but it's not going to be overbearing, right? It's kind of like how it usually goes for just any game. New hero releases, new hype goes with this hero. You want to make them make sure they feel strong enough to live up to like the hype, right? But this time around, they missed the mark by a significant margin. They went way overboard with some numbers and like how strong she is right now. Because like, I've been playing Wing on this like new patch. I can't play Terra at all because everyone is just banning her. No one's letting this like Terra just get into Wing because no one wants to face this character in the first place. Like, I just don't know what happened with this character. Usually they do really good at like making sure the heroes are not overtuned on like release, but this character just like I almost want to create a new SS like bracket, just have Terra there only. Like that's just how bad it is, and how like bit problematic that she is just in this meta, because not only she just completely hard counters people, you just always pick her because she does a bajillion things super dang strong and has very minimum weaknesses. I think the only weakness she has is like being able to cage her with walls for like Deku, right? But that's just like one hero in this high roster that can do that, whereas like all these other heroes, they have no way to kind of deal with Terra in this current meta. So enough rambling from me. I think you guys got the point on why she's like really giga busted right now. Let's talk about some of the other notable placements right now, and we're actually going to talk about some like the offlaners, Kwang, Aurora, and Zarus. And I'm going to go ahead quickly place them on the tier list, and I'm going to kind of talk about why I'm placing them as is. Because on the previous patch before Terra was released, these three was easily top 3 for offlane, in even like for jungle. Maybe Kwang not so much, but definitely Aurora, Zarus were very strong in the jungle, right? And so of course, this patch came out, they did some nerfs to like all 3 of them, except Kwang wasn't really nerfed. The only part of Kwang that really nerfed was like his passive base damage and then his like shield early on. But like for late game, his shield is about the same and even gets stronger as the game goes on, which all in all, you could say that he got buffed, and I don't understand why they keep buffing like a hero that's already a top offlaner and then also one of the top picks in the jungle as well. Like this guy is so nutty. Like he just doesn't lose lane. I guess maybe against the Terra, he can kind of like has some real competition for once, but like outside that, he literally just wins against like most if not all matchups. He's just a huge lane dominator, and that's part of the reason why they try to nerf him, try to nerf his early game but also buff his late game. Because apparently Kwang is like really bad late game, which I can kind of see some arguments for that, but it never feels like that. Because he's always gonna be very good in those late game fights because he has like the CC knockup, he has the burst damage mobility to kind of dive and get into the back line. Not only that, but his damage is also very good. Like the build I've been running on him like allows you to not only be like really tanky, even in this meta where like being a tank is really a struggle, like this build makes him feel durable, but he does a lot of burst damage because of all the power items that make the basic attacks hit really hard. So like his late game really doesn't feel that bad to me, at least compared to a lot of these other picks that actually does worse in the late game. So I don't know, maybe I have some bias on him on the late game. Maybe I always do good with him, so I never see like the issues with him mid to late game. But without a doubt, like he just got buffed for like the 3rd time in a row. Like he is just really dang strong. He's like a pick I'm seeing that's always being picked, not necessarily banned, but he's always getting picked because of how versatile he is in the offlane and jungle. And he also can do pretty dang well in the support, because there's a lot of support, like normal support picks, that feels kind of meh in this current meta. Kind of feel like you want to play support that's about enabling burst damage to come into play, and the Kwang support actually does that pretty dang good. Even the world support can also work pretty dang good as well. I just did a recent video where like you literally just W keep and run them down as soon as you can get your passive E roots onto them. So like Aurora got like a bigger hit of a nerf, mainly in the jungle world, because her clues were actually pretty dang strong, but it still feels pretty dang strong in the jungle world, just not like overly oppressively like fast. But other than that, her offlane world doesn't really feel that touch a whole lot. Her passive damage nerf was only for jungles, so you can still just run down people level 1 through 3 really easy with her, very elusive. And she's always going to be really good in team fights because you press the fun button and just CC lock down everyone, right? Except Terra. And that's a big thing about Terra, is that like against like these top meta picks, I think she does really good into all 3, especially in Aurora, and like because Terra literally can just ignore like more than half of Aurora's kit, because Aurora's kit is all about CC, and guess what? A hero is anti-CC, literally can just walk over Aurora like it's nothing. And for like Zarus, he got nerfed overall both in offlane and jungle, but he's still like a lane bully. He still has very good ganks as a jungler. Like you can never go wrong with Zarus because his pick potential on like locking down people is very good. So I would say like if you're looking at like the top offlaners and the top junglers on this patch, I really do think that all 4 of these are like your best choices. Obviously try to prioritize like Terra if you can, or ban her, so you may not actually play her in wing, but definitely like Kwang, definitely pick him up because I feel like he's just doing really dang good because they just keep buffing him for whatever reason. And then the Aurora Zarus got tacked down, but it's still like much stronger than the rest of the competition in my opinion. So next up, we're gonna talk about ADCs because they nerf quote unquote ADCs, but they really feel like huge nerfs. They feel like it really feels like most ADCs are like very strong and they're very deadly. Just be able to like do 2 or 3 autos and then you just already have HP, right? They're just beyond ridiculous. So I'm gonna quickly just place all the ADCs and just kind of get a good picture of what I mean. We're gonna first talk about Revenant. I think he's actually good enough that he's actually a situational pick. He got buffed, quick damage got buffed, so he feels better. Like a lot of people are kind of more happy where he is at, but there's still very much a kind of on-hit attack speed meta. It's all about like high sustain, high burst damage you can do with fast auto attacks, and Revenant that doesn't take advantage of that unfortunately. But he has some niche cases where you can play like as a semi-assassin, try to like look for a squishy target, try to kill them in his ultimate, but I think it's very much a situational pick. I don't think it's like a kind of one-trick kind of character. It's not like super hard to play. He's just a character that can be easily punchable due to his lack of mobility early game, and it's very like snowball reliant. Like he's a character that you only really want to pick in the right kind of team comps and if you're very comfortable with this hero. Next up, we're going to talk about Waste. He's still just A to D. He's always going to be in this one-trick category because of this nature of his kit. So just know that he's never going to move out here for the most part. I would say that he is doing better on this patch compared to the previous. A lot more people are starting to play him again in mid and ADC, but I think he's still like semi-situational pick like Revenant, but the only difference between the two of them is that Waste is someone that you really want to only play him if you're like a one trick with him, because if you're not one trick, if you don't let him do combos 9% of the time, he's gonna feel very lackluster as an ADC slash mid pick. Next up, we're going to talk about Twin Blast and Modok, and we're going to put them both in the B pick right here. Both of them are actually very good ADCs, right? The big thing reason why I'm putting them in B picks is because I feel like the damage output compared to like the S and A pick ADCs are just not as good. They have a lot of great utility, don't get me wrong. Modok has very good 1v1s, dual potential, knockback, mines, movement speed, you name it. Global ultimate is always going to be good on trying to like get snowball and always have that global pressure. But Twin Blast, he's just like one of the most elusive mobile kind of ADCs, being able to dash multiple times, keep people at the mid-range very good. But it kind of feels like his actual damage, his burst damage for like these on-hit builds, doesn't feel like it's just nearly as good as compared to like the AS picks. So these two picks are very good picks, but in terms of like wall damage and being able to burst down targets really fast, I feel like they get a little outshined by like these A picks. And we're gonna quickly just rank all these A pick ADCs right here, and that is Sparrow, Kira, what is stronger at? Strongo, and then I'm trying to see if there's one other pick right here. Okay, I think that was it. But let me just quickly talk about these three right here and why I think they deserve to be here. Still, she got nerfed again, but she still has that very high wall damage. And when we talk about rank, we're talking about like these drafts where people will actually pick Phase often to pair Sparrow with her, and these two together is just a very strong and very nutty combo. I must say, like a Sparrow and Phase just on steroids. Like she can just absolutely shred people still. Not gonna be able to like shred people like as easy like early game as she used to be. She's gonna have a power spike more in the mid game, right? But all you really need with all these like ADCs minus maybe Drongo and like Revenant is like just on hit items. Stormbreaker Skyspear still very meta, very strong. Both Kira and Sparrow take full advantage of the Skyspear Stormbreaker combo, and on top of that, they're like damage really just kind of go all in and wear down people. It's just unmatched for the most part. Like you'll be really surprised how much damage just this Kira can really do like early game. Like it's really like high up there. I know a lot of people would sort of consider Kira to be one of the top ADCs, but I'm not necessarily going to rank her as S, and I'm going to talk about why when we get into that. Interesting thing about Drongo is that like since they buffed crit damage and then also like did some bug fix on Drongo's passive, I believe, he's actually been seeing a lot of play. A lot of people are starting to like pick him and sometimes ban him, but not all the time. I also try him out a couple times. Like I can feel like his burst damage, his high sustain damage, all that good stuff, but I feel like he's still outshined a little bit by this S pick ADC that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But he is just an ADC that has a lot of good counter matchups, like being able to completely shut down the crunch as per usual. He's very good into Q because he presses Q and the Q doesn't get to play the game with her ultimate. Like Drongo was like a very like good pick. Like he has a lot great utility and he's just doing really good with some of the buff items on this patch. So last but not least, we're going to talk about like the last ADC pick here and why I think this duo right here deserves to be S pick still. And it's going to be Grim XE. And so I gotta explain a little bit why I put it right here, because this is not the same Grim S pick as before. Well, the previous Grim S pick was just like you always pick him, always ban him. Like his damage is so absurd before. They nerf him. His damage doesn't feel nearly as absurd anymore, and he's someone that feels in a lot better spot, right? But the reason why I'm not putting him in the A pick necessarily right now is because like I actually think in terms of like utility and like sustained damage, long range damage, I think he actually beats out all the other ADCs at the moment. Because it's still very much a short time to kill meta, right? And so like the best way to kill ADCs is to throw a stun at them, and then as soon as you stun the ADCs, the whole enemy team just dart pile on them and bust them down. They don't get to play the game, right? So like some of these picks like the Sparrow, like are very vulnerable to CC, because as soon as they get CC, they're just like being asked to just get killed straight away, right? With Grim, he actually just can completely negate and any CC ability at whim with just one ability click, and that hits his spell shield. I think his spell shield alone kind of carries him in this meta, because like being able to like deflect, be immune to like one CC ability that can't just kill any other ADC is very valuable on him. Like if you take into just that alone makes him like a very strong contender for like the S and A pick, right? And even though his damage got nerfed, it still feels really dang strong. He has very good like sustained damage. He has that all that pure slow damage, pushback. He can execute people far away with his ultimate. Like he's still very much a very good ADC, and I think in this meta, well, you really want to try to throw your CC, land the CC on the ADC to try to like kill them right before a big team fight happens. I think it's very good that Grim has that one ability that can just completely negate that and can still like fight aggressively, right? And I mean, in my win climb, I see people always picking him and always like sometimes banning him as well. Like he's still very much a must pick or ban character, especially since another reason he's also very good in the mid lane still. Like not nearly as oppressive, but he has like great flexibility in the mid lane as well. So because of that too, where he has very strong strengths and ADC will also be a great flex in mid, I think Grim is still very much an S pick in my opinion in this ADC roster. Alright, so that's all about the big highlights that I want to talk about. Now let's kind of go ahead and rate the rest of the cast right here. Counter still kind of C pick. She's doing pretty good. But I think compared to like these other picks, I think she's a lot more high risk, high reward character. That like I think there's nothing more can go with these like other offlaners and junglers. I think for counters, there's some certain matches where it can get completely negated and hard counter in. But she's good in the jungle. Kind of niche case in the off lane and also kind of niche case in the mid lane. I think she just can be fine in 3 roles, but she's not like actually stand out in those 3 roles as well. So I think she's just kind of like a C pick for now. It kind of takes some nerfing or buffing counts before she can feel like she's going to be high up in the tier list for now. Decker, and we're going to put Deku actually in the S pick right here. This is actually a pretty notable, important highlight I want to talk to you guys about, because I was talking a lot about the short time to kill meta. It's about like having like the kind of heroes that can like CC people and bust them down very quickly, and Deku, in my opinion, is actually one of the best supports right now in this current meta, because she fully enables this short time to kill meta to its utmost limit, because she has that CC lockdown, and she's very good at just getting good picks for her team, right? But on top of that, she is an absolute lane bully right now, and she does way too much damage in the early game. Like, I played Deku a couple times in the support role. Her damage is just not okay in the support role. Like, she can actually just do a full combo on you and just lose half your HP already without even her ADC actually doing damage onto you. Like, she's someone that is like doing super good in the dual lane, just being a huge lane bully, being very hard to lock down, and also just good at all points of the game. And then like not only that, she just completely shuts down some support picks as well. Like if you ever played against a good support, good Deku support and lane, especially as you climb lane, you know that it's very hard to play the lane with her constantly poking you and then always looking for like stuns to be able to like do a lot of chunk damage. Like she is really top rated pick right now. If you want to climb on support and be able to carry your lane, you have to pick Deku because she is that good right now. Next up is going to be Fei-Mao. He's going to be, again, you only pick him for one trick, especially in the off lane. I think jungle is a little bit easier to play with him, but I think right now there's other better jungle picks like the Aurora series, Kwang, Terra. I think you play Fei-Mao if you're like someone that's almost like a one-trick Tim that knows exactly like the limits of this character, knowing like what will kill and what will not kill with your ultimate. Because otherwise you're gonna feel very meh. You just only want to play him if you're just a one trick. Like I sometimes play him in Wink, but I kind of feel like he's sort of like lacking a little bit in some areas. So it's just better to play other picks right now. You only want to play this guy if you're one trick. Next up, it's going to be Gadget, and she's going to be a B pick. Before, she was kind of like an A pick, because a lot of mid lanes got nerfed pretty hard, like the Bellica and August most notably. So she was A pick only because she was one of the few mages that actually feels still pretty strong. But I think she's going to be a B pick, because I think some mages did get buffed. There's other like competition in the mid lane, so I don't think she's like an always strong pick, but she's definitely a great pick in this current meta. Gideon, S pick. Always has been. Like, I'm so sick and tired of this guy always being S pick, because not only like again the safest mid laner in the game, he's also very good in team fights. He's very good at like burst damage. Like a Gideon just be able to walk down duel and just half HP them within seconds. It's just not okay. Like I just want to see a meta for once where Gideon's just not must pick or ban, because it's getting really annoying to deal with him all the time. I guess the only way you can Gideon is just one of those characters that it's always going to be very strong, because his kit by nature is just very strong. Like, I get a really good comparison is Steel, where Steel just always feels really good because his kit is just so dang good at team fights and locking down people, right? And I think Gideon's just in a similar boat where unless they just rework him or really gut his numbers to where like he's doing really low numbers, like he's just always going to be most pick or ban in this like meta. Greystone, he's going to be a C pick. Like, I think he just loses most offlane matchups. It's just very hard to like win your like lane as Greystone. I think he's much better in the jungle, but even the jungle role, I think he has a lot of competition. The only thing he got going for him is the fact that his ultimate is very good at baiting out abilities onto him. He's very hard to like punish and like lock down kill for like those objectives kind of fights. But I think other than that, he's just kind of there. He's just kind of meh. I think there's just other better jungler picks that can offer more like value in those team fights especially. Next up is going to be Zarus. He did got nerfed, but I still think he's pretty dang strong, and he's going to be an always strong pick. I don't like his jungle role. A lot of people, for whatever reason, like to play jungle with him. I get that his clears is really good. He's very healthy. He can do early objectives, but his team fighting feels really bad. Always has been really bad. but it's even worse in the jungle role where you're not having as high of a level as you do in the offlane role. So I just don't like him in jungle role, but at least in offlane role, he is definitely very strong. He can kind of go toe to toe with most of these like matchups pretty well. Really good into Zarus, and he can also be good into Kwang as the game goes on. He can sort of hold his on the Terra, but Terra just really overtuned, so it's hard to deal with her. Like, I think Grux is just a really good pick. He's also just a pick that a lot of people still do not know how to deal with, and just give one over and complain that he's really broken, when in reality, he's just a character that's just a low elo stomper for the most part. Hauser, he's gonna be a great pick. Again, I think he's not like a bad pick, not necessarily. I just think other midlands can provide more value for the most part. Like, he's very good for self-peel and single target damage, but I think a lot of the other midland picks can do that and plus some more. But if you're against the Gideon, Hauser can be a good counter matchup. Like, there are like situations where you can pick Hauser depending on your mid lane matchup. I just don't think he's the pick you always want to pick every single time. Next up is gonna be Clyde. She is again just gonna be only for one trick. Only pick this character, please, if you're like very good with her, because trying to play her in the jungle world, especially, like, if you're not very good with her in the jungle world, you're gonna have a really hard time, because in the short time to kill meta, especially, one small misstep and you just die immediately. There's just no way around it. So you gotta be really careful playing her, but if you can play her really well, she's very annoying to deal with. Chimera, I'm gonna actually put him in the B pick right here. Like, there's some consideration put him A pick. I know people are kind of like, he's kind of like wherever, he's just there. He's not he's someone that's good, you can't go wrong with. I just think that like the other picks just offer more than him. Kind of like how How's a Gadget, like, you can't go wrong with. It's just I feel like the other Apex offer more than them. I feel like Chimera's in the same boat where I feel like the Sales Aurora provides so much more in those team fights and those jungle kind of moments than the Chimera does. Although Chimera is a very good solo kill character that can kind of carry against you a lot of damage, so you can't go wrong with him at all. It's just I feel like as you climb high elos and you have to like play those like team fights much more coordinated, I think he gets a little bit outshined a little bit. Belaga, I'm still gonna put in a situational pick. She got buff, but it wasn't really that big of a buff. It kind of really does feel like she doesn't really do a whole lot of damage in mid lane. Support role, she gets overshadowed by like a lot of other picks, even the off meta picks too. Like, I feel like she's still in a really rough spot. If she's not being able to kill people really reliably in the full combo, she's gonna always feel kind of meh for the most part. She's kind of like a hero that may just need to get rework eventually, because she's either like, she either kill you in your one combo and she's like S2 pick, or she doesn't and she feels like a deep situational pick right now. Morgish is going to be a great pick. She's actually like very popular in rank in the mid lane role, and of course it's because she's like very easy to pilot and very easy to do a lot of damage in those team fights in laning phase especially. Like, some people maybe argue she's a pick, but I think she's someone that can be easy to just sit camp and just sit on. Like, if she is against a team that's all about diving the backline and CT lockdown, I think she's gonna struggle a lot for the most part. But other than that, she's someone that's really easy to play, very easy to just get high numbers in those like team fights, right? So I think she's a very great pick. I just don't think she's as like reliable to always put in the A role, in my opinion. Mayo, she's gonna be again only for one trick. She did got nerfed pretty hard, but she still feels pretty dang strong because she's like one of the few enchanter supports, probably one of the only enchanter support actually that feels fine in this meta, because it feels like healing feels kind of bad. Like, I'll actually wait Nobbatch in phase for quick. And to kind of talk about what I mean, because I always feel like Nobbat's always been like a really strong pick, but I feel like he got really knocked down from like SA to like B pick at best, because like he does best when he has like the high sustained healing. But like in this meta where people are just dying within seconds, he doesn't really get that healing value off. Like, you only see the value in his healing when you take team fights, everyone's low, but then Nobbatch heals them all back up and you just do ejective. But that's kind of like a more niche case. He's very easy to play, but I feel like if you want to play support and kind of carry that wall, you want to play like a decker that can really just lock down people and just kind of like do a lot of damage, right? Like this is like one of those matches where it feels really rough for Naba to go into Decker. And then for FaZe, she's gonna be like, again just a situational pick. It's just I think if you unless you're like playing with like someone like a Sparrow, feel like immobile ADC kind of happy carry kind of team. I don't think FaZe is someone you don't really want to pick that often because she doesn't really enable that short time to kill meta at all necessarily. She only does really good at peeling and healing, but the healing part is kind of lost when people are just dying within seconds again. So she only has a lot of value in the pool, pulling people to safety, but she doesn't enable that her team to really just lock down targets and bust them down. So for like Mirio, it's just like the only enchanter I feel that actually feels good, because the best way to negate all the burst damage is to just shield them up like crazy with all the shields. It's not going to be nearly as good as it used to be on this patch, but I think she's still like going to be very good as an enchanter support that can also do a lot of damage early game if you play her right. I just think you only want to play her if you have someone that actually plays her a lot, knows exactly who to ult and when the split push. She's a very complex, she's a deceptively complex character with a simple kit, and you can only access the best parts of her like playstyle if you only play her a whole ton. Next up is going to be Rampage. He's still like a C pick, he got some buffs, but again the buffs weren't really that drastic. He still feels like a kind of pick that doesn't really feel like as good, because his whole purpose as a character is to build tank, dive backline, be really hard to kill, be really big. So with him right now, he's really big, he can dive the backline, but it's very easy to kill. It's the thing, like he's not really that tanky at all. The health regen is not enough, bringing full armor is not enough, and if you even do that, your damage is going to be very piss poor. Like this guy is still very struggling right now in this jungle meta. I know some people sometimes play him in those comps and like those tournaments, right? But that's like a whole different dynamic for the most part. If you're like trying to carry in the jungle world, don't pick Rampage, because I don't think he's like very good at carrying like the team in terms of damage. Like you're better off with like a Zarus and Aurora at that point. Victor, again, only play him if you're one trick. He's like he's doing fine in support. Like I feel like Deco does a better job at like constantly pressuring and fishing for like damage and burst than the Victor does, but again, one hook is all it takes to kind of win a team fight. He's always going to be good for that. I just think his jungle role, offlane role is not doing as good compared to like this really high competition right now. So I think you only want to play him if you're very comfortable and can always land your hooks. Because someone that can always land his hooks on Victor is a very scary threat indeed. Next up is going to be Sarah. She's going to be a great pick. She does a lot of damage, she's great in the jungle, she's also good in the off lane, but I think she's very easy countered by like CC. It all takes one CC, people bust it down, she doesn't get to play the game, right? It's also that, and I feel like a lot of her off lane matchups like can be a little bit rough, especially like the really like meta picks right now. So I don't think there's nothing wrong to go with Zarus. I think she's like a more high skill ceiling hero, all about limit testing and knowing when to use your Q to avoid CC. So not as straightforward, easy to play, but still very good in the right hands. Next up, Sedwalk. He's again only playing me one trick because there's no reason to really play like a Sedwalk offlane in jungle when there's a lot easier picks that can get online much faster than you, and because he's like the same issue as Rampage, where like his whole purpose is tanking, and tanking is the joke in this current meta still, so he just feels kind of rough. So you only play him if you're someone that's very good with him, and you can like look for those angles all the time. Shemi, she's again gonna be situation pick. She's fine in the jungle, but you mostly play her in the off lane for the split push potential. You only play, she's the kind of character that when you play her, you're not playing her to help beat those team fights. You're playing to keep pushing for inhibitors. She's very good at split pushing, don't get me wrong, but that's all she really does. So if you have a bad team comp where you have to play someone that has been in team fights and pick Shimbi, she can really make your like team fights super rough, right? Only pick her if your 4 teammates can actually have a decent team fight without you. Steel is gonna be a great pick. I was sort of thinking about putting him in the A pick, but I think right now he's like kind of a great pick. Can't go wrong with in the support role. I just think he get a little bit overshadowed by some other support picks. Again, like the Deco is a problem. At least Steel has a way to negate a lot of damage with his shield, and he has a lot of CC. He's also really very good in the offlane, not so much in the jungle. I think in the offlane especially is like he will always only be a pick if you have a lot of good matchups. And I feel like a lot of the recent offlaners like Terra, Kwang, Aurora, like all of them are like very good into Steel, so it's very hard to like for Steel to kind of dominate his lane as he used to do back in the day. So I think it's a great pick, but not an always strong pick in my opinion. Faye is gonna be a situational pick. You can maybe argue like a C kind of pick, but I kind of feel like there's a lot of other mid laners that are just safer to play for the most part, and she just gets counted by CC, especially against Terra. Like, don't pick Faye against Terra, please, because you don't get to play the game ever, right? So Joe is going to be situational just for the fact that she's get hard counted by CC always. And then last two picks is Iggy and August, and Iggy is going to be an A pick. I think he's still very strong. They nerf him, but I play him. He can still like choose objectives. He does a lot of damage to objectives, one some of the highest in the mid lane roster. So not only he has that very strong niche of being able to really just kill objectives super fast and super early, he has a lot of damage still in his team fight. So he's zoning off people very well with his torments. People that try to like dive onto your ADCs or try to go at you really aggressively, he can do a lot of damage very consistently, very easily. I think he's very good right now. You can't go wrong with that at all. Last but not least, we're going to talk about August, and I actually going to put him in 8th pick because he's one of those picks like Bellica will. He got hit pretty dang hard in terms of his burst damage, but slowly over time, we've been seeing some buffs here and there. Like, people starting to slowly figure out how to play him again. And on this recent patch, a lot of people are like feeling really good on him. Like, he offers, again, he's always been like someone that offers a ton of utility in mid lane role. That's why he's always been like really solid support role. It's just like on previous patches, sort of lacked that damage to really put him in the mid lane role. And now, since they buff his RB, he's starting to feel really good now. Like, his damage is actually pretty dang good. He can really just full combo people and like really just run them down. Very good mid-range, long-range damage. Like, he's actually doing really good now. Again, I don't think he's like an S pick necessarily, but like at least in his mid lane roster, he's like starting to feel really good in the top 3 kind of spot. But yeah, that's about it for my tier list right here. There's a ton we talk about right in this today's video. I guess the one thing I'm just still really dissatisfied that a lot of people also dissatisfied with is just a short time to kill meta. Well, meta's still doing the small nudges, but the small nudges is still not making as strong of an impact as we would like, and a lot of people are starting to get impatient with how slow this meta still trying to like fix itself, right? Because especially with Terra, like, I think if Terra wasn't released and we just got this patch, I think a lot of people would be happy with it. There'll be people still mad or not happy with the short time to kill meta and Tank's feeling bad, but it wouldn't be as bad. But like with Terra's release, she's like the new like big problem in the meta right now. Like, she is just like really terrorizing everyone. She's really annoying to deal with. Like, I just think that our meta just can't seem to catch a break with them not being able to like get this meta in control, because right now this meta still feels very out of control at the moment. But hey, if you guys been playing the game for a while, you know that 80% of the time the meta's always been like solid. This is like the rare 20% we actually get a meta that feels kind of bad. It feels pretty bad to like deal with, right? So we just need to be a bit more patient. I'm hoping next patch we're gonna finally like get this meta really out under the control. I'm hoping to do a little bit more drastic changes so we can kind of like get to a place where everyone's happy and not as many people are annoyed playing into this game's meta. But that's enough from me. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If not already, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss a single beat by yours truly. But other than that, hope you guys have a great rest of your day here. Peace.